If your stomach is rumbling but your kitchen is empty, there's no need to rush out to the grocery store. Believe it or not, there are many different options that you can make for dinner even if your pantry is practically empty. Roasted potatoes might not sound like a solid meal choice to everyone, but there are lots of things you can add to make this option more satisfying. First, roast some potatoes with oil, maybe some garlic, and anything else you have on hand that you think might be tasty. If you have any leftovers on hand, add chicken, sausage, tofu, tempeh, or another source of protein to give this meal some staying power. Then make a simple vinaigrette or aioli. Toss whatever fresh herbs in that you might have hanging out in the bottom of your crisper drawer, and call it dinner. And if you happen to have any ready-made sauce on hand, go ahead and top it off with that.
Potatoes. Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew.
If you have croissants, English muffins, or really any type of bread along with eggs and a few spices, you have the necessary fixings for savory French toast. Skip the sweet spices like nutmeg and cinnamon, and instead use herbs usually reserved for dinner like garlic, red pepper, or cumin. Throw in some cheese if you'd like, and serve it alongside lightly dressed greens, bacon, sautéed veggies, or whatever else you have on hand. To put it all together, drizzle your stack of French toast with a spicy honey, aioli, hot sauce, or even just butter. This is a total clean out the fridge meal, and you don't have to find anything fancy. If you have the staples and some odds and ends in your cheese drawer or crisper, then you've got dinner. Soup is one of the absolute easiest meals to make when you don't have much in the house. You don't need a recipe, and nearly anything you don't have can be easily swapped out with something else. You'll need some kind of broth base, whether it's a frozen stock, a box stock, or a base you mix with water to form a broth. After that, it's up to you as to what you'll add. Veggies, pasta, rice, chickpeas, lentils, quinoa, beans or other grains, meat, fish, tofu, and fresh and dried herbs are all good options. Make sure the veggies, proteins, and grains are cooked through, and simmer everything for a bit to meld the flavors. And then, dinner is served. Eggs are one of the easiest dinners ever when you realize you've got nothing in the house but still have to cook. If you're like a lot of people, then you nearly always have at least a couple of eggs languishing in a carton in the fridge, waiting to be used at some point. The great thing about eggs is that you can prepare them in so many different ways. From Benedict to poached, scrambled, fried, hard-boiled, and more, there are so many ways that you can make eggs for any meal of the day.
I can't get an Eggy McMuffin because it's 10:35. Flappy, flappy, wait, wait.
Incorporate cheese, veggies, or meat if you like, or serve the eggs alongside a piece of toast, fried potatoes, fruit, or lightly dressed greens for a more complete meal. Salad might not sound like the most exciting meal option, but there are more possibilities than just lettuce paired with a couple of typical vegetables. If you have greens, make that your base. Feel free to amp it up a bit with grains or rice, torn crusty bread, bits of cheese, whatever veggies you have in your fridge, and fresh herbs. Add protein for staying power, an avocado or a healthy fat so that your dinner satisfies. If you don't have any kind of dressing in the house, never fear. Mix a simple vinaigrette from oil, acid like vinegar or citrus juice, salt, and pepper. Add garlic, mustard, herbs, cheese, or anything else you'd like to make it a bit more flavorful. It doesn't get much easier than that. If you're in the mood for quesadillas, then a couple of tortillas and a handful of cheese are all you need. And then the options for fillers are practically endless. You can opt for salsa, avocado, mashed beans, canned beans, corn, tomatoes, mashed pumpkin or squash, garlic, peppers, cilantro, chicken, ground beef, onion, the list goes on and on. Serve with hot sauce, sour cream, salsa, guacamole, or whatever you have in the house that could make a good dip. Alternatively, serve the quesadilla simply on its own. Since you already made dinner from nearly nothing, you don't need to make things complicated. If you have bread and any kind of cheese, then you've got dinner. Absolutely any type of cheese will work for a grilled cheese sandwich, even if you're worried it won't. There are, of course, better and worse cheeses for this dish in terms of how well they melt, but don't stress about it because that's more of a personal preference than anything else. Once the cheese starts melting, add some filler. If you're into meat, try bacon or chicken. If you want veggies, spinach, onions, and tomato are all good options. Other options like fruit preserves, herbs, and sauces are also great choices for putting your simple grilled cheese over the top. Pasta is many people's go-to meal when avoiding the grocery store, and for good reason. If you have a box of pasta, you have dinner. You don't even need to have sauce. You can serve it with a sprinkle of cheese and herbs, plus a pat of butter or a glug of olive oil. Otherwise, the options to top it off are endless. Salmon, veggies, and of course a bit of wine are all worthwhile choices.
Try the wine. Thank you, sir.
Don't overthink your pasta dinner. Think about the flavor profile you want to go for, and then build your ultimate dish around what you have and what kinds of flavors you want your dinner to have. Easy peasy. Check out one of our newest videos right here, plus even more MASH videos about your favorite foods are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.